how this matter is arranged. This matter is arranged in definite forms. There is this matter keeps on changing its forms from solid to liquid, from liquid to gas. There is definite arrangement of atoms in this matter, and so many different things, right? So its composition, its properties, its structures, and how do they interact with energy? What will happen when you apply heat? What will happen when you take away heat? So that is the study of this matter substances chemistry. Now, why something or how is it in the natural world? You will get an answer, almost all the answers you will find it in the periodic table. Now, when I say periodic table is the systematic arrangement of atoms. It is the systematic arrangement of atoms. It is the systematic arrangement of atoms as per their atomic numbers, and the properties are sorted out. We have already seen this in the, what do we say, in the lower standards, specifically in 10th standard, you saw that we have this periodic table, and it is, what do we say, composed of so many different elements, and what these elements are having similar properties, where are metals placed, where are non-metals placed, and so on, right? So periodic table, if you just refer the periodic table, na, you get n number of answers to your questions. Anything which you need to understand, a property of an element, if you want to understand whether this particular element is going to react with another element, is it possible? What is the possibility of the element combining with the other element? What is the valency? What type of reaction will it undergo? What kind of bond will it make? And so on, right? So that's what. Now, question, very basic question of why is the sky blue? So there is a phenomenon called as scattering of light. Now gas is made up of particles, dust particles, and other molecules. So when light is falling over such particles, it gets scattered. A particular wavelength of light gets scattered. The color of the light, the color of the sky is because of the scattering of this light. The wavelength which is reflected from the particles, it falls on our eyes, and that wavelength has blue color. That is why we can see the sky's color as blue. Now we have nitrogen, oxygen, and so many other substances in the air. Now this I had shown you last time, that how is it possible for a small insect to walk on water? Something called as aqueous tension, which we talked about, right? So many such questions are answered in chemistry. And this is how, not exactly how your periodic table looks like, but yeah, your answer lies over here in this periodic table. And everything will involve chemistry. And when we talk about chemistry, you see there are various fields, specific related fields in chemistry, which will make you study. So we will definitely look at the different branches and different fields of chemistry also. That, like, what is chemistry? So we have organic chemistry, we have inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, physical chemistry, and biochemistry, right? So let us look into these topics. I guess now I'm audible, and you guys can see the screen. There's no issue, right? If my voice and all is breaking, please let me know before that. Okay, so let us move towards. Let us move towards the different branches of chemistry. What is going to be the yeah, I have closed the video, beta. I'm going to start a new video for you. Okay, I'll share it. So we'll talk about the different branches of chemistry. What are these branches of chemistry? How will they audio is not clear. Is it clear now, beta Piyush? If you feel like the audio is not clear, please let me know. I suppose you can see the screen also now. Screen भी दिख रहा है सबको. Cool. ठीक है. So now let us see what are the different branches of chemistry. How can you make a career in your specific interest, or rather what is your interest and how is it related to chemistry? Let us have a look at that. Okay. Now, when I talk about chemistry, there are many different types and branches of chemistry. Okay. To name, like you see in front of you, you have analytical chemistry, you have biochemistry, organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, industrial chemistry, and nuclear chemistry. So, apart from this, also there are many other branches, but these are the main branches wherein which you take up the careers. These branches have सब स्पेशलाइजेशंस आल्सो. ये ब्रांचेस के अंदर भी बाइफिकेशंस होता है, स्पेशलाइजेशंस होता है. ओके, सो लेट अस हैव अ लुक एट देम one by one. Now we are in an age where there are so many web series, where there are so many programs which are going on the television. So on those in these serials and all, if there is a murder or if there is a what do we say, situation which occurs in a crime spot, these forensic department people, they come, they collect samples, and somehow they come to know about who has done the crime or what time the crime was done, and whether the blood sample is matching. If they catch the suspects, they match their fingerprints and this. Then if the death has been has been done by eating something, they check the food for the different constituents present inside the food and find out if there is poison or not. So that is all a part of analytical chemistry, to analyze a particular sample of what it is made up of and what are its constituents. Okay, so that is what is interesting. These detectives and all, they collect the unidentified samples and they go to the lab and then they test and find out what is there in that particular matter. So analytical chemistry is the study of the constituent or the chemical particles present inside a substance. Now, for example, how much caffeine is there in a cup of tea, or the urine samples which are collected in the lab reports for testing whether you are having a particular bacteria in your body or virus, or why are you sick, to find out the blood samples, the urine samples. All those things, those samples are collected and वो samples के ऊपर टेस्ट करके हम लोग find out करते हैं कि क्या present है उसके अंदर, क्या नहीं है, and so on. This helps in your drug testing and environment constituents. Why is the pollution and what is the thing? This analytical chemistry is divided into two further groups. One is qualitative and other is quantitative. Qualitative means what, and quantitative means how much. Okay, so what is present in this sample? Carbon is present in this sample. How much carbon is present? 12% carbon is present. That way. So qualitative tells you what is present and quantitative tells you how much is it present. So in analytical chemistry, you can find out what is present and also how much it is present. We'll be doing many such numericals in various chapters in chemistry in 11th and 12th, where we will be finding the percentage of oxygen in a compound, the percentage of carbon in a compound, and so on. Okay, so that is what is analytical. So qualitative will find out what is present in that substance, and quantitative gives you the number, out of which you can make different types of graphs. How did it increase? How is the number increasing? What is the mass? How is the mass related to this? If I increase the quantity, what's going to happen to this particular compound? And ये सब graphs and structures बना करके it's helpful to us. Okay. The next branch of chemistry is your biochemistry. Now, when we talk about biochemistry, this is something, bio means it is related to the living world. Okay. So biochemistry is going to be related to the human body. Now, let us not restrict it to human body only. It is also going to be having living organisms and plants. So let us see what exactly is your biochemistry. The very best example of this biochemistry application, or rather a field of study, is the fact that we are sweating. We sweat when we go out in the sun, right? How is the sweat coming out of the body? How is this water coming out of the body? Is there a mechanism? Is there a reaction which is going on in our body? Then the answer is yes. Okay. So you have layers of skin ke layers ke niche you have so many different constituents in your body. So when heat is falling on your body, or when you are doing a very tedious task, or very task which requires force, which requires energy, that forces molecules to evaporate and come out of the pores. Okay. Then this blood is having water and containing the pH level inside the body. Okay. So biochemistry, it's the study of chemical processes in living organisms. As simple as that. In your body also, everything is made up of atoms and molecules and elements, which of carbon, oxygen and hydrogen are the main constituents out of them. Now, biochemistry ka further the disciplines are: one, enzymology. Now, what do I mean by enzymology? The study of enzymes. What are enzymes? Enzymes are biocatalysts. Enzymes are compounds present inside the body naturally, which help to speed up the process inside the human body, the digestion process, the respiration process, assimilation, and so many other processes, right? Also, when you take medicines and all, that particular medicine acts on that particular pain point in your area because of specific enzymes which are present inside your body. So ये सब वैक्सीन वगैरह बनता है ना, तो उसमें भी बहुत काम आता है इसका स्टडी. Enzymology is one of those branches. Then you have endocrinology. Endocrinology is the study of the various hormones which are present inside your body. So the timely changes which are occurring in your body, or some specific what do we say, body processes are controlled by very peculiar hormones which are secreted. Over secretion, under secretion of hormones, it creates imbalances in the body. So all this study of hormones is what do we say, understood under endocrinology, which is biochemistry. Now the other part is clinical biochemistry. What do we mean by clinical biochemistry? Clinical biochemistry is all related to the study of diseases. Diseases study karna, viruses, bacteria ka effect on the human body, making vaccines out of it, and helping people save their lives, which is currently going on in the world, right? The other branch of your biochemistry is molecular biochemistry. Molecular biochemistry is the study of the different types of molecules and biomolecules which are essential for the existence of humans, right? Now, when I say biomolecules, which are the famous biomolecules because of which we are existing? So we have carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, fats, right? Vitamins, so many other things. So the study of such compounds will be included under molecular biochemistry. Now comes a very interesting branch. Now comes a very interesting branch of chemistry, which is going to be a very essential part of our studies in the next 2 years: organic chemistry. Carbon and its compounds, all the derivatives of carbon compounds, you name it and you'll study that in organic chemistry. You must have heard of different, what do we say, like compounds like alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, right? So ये सब के बारे में we are going to study under organic chemistry. So anything which involves carbon and hydrogen bond, we are going to study it under organic chemistry. So what are the compounds which we'll be studying, like fuel, plastics, polymers, food additives, drugs, or other compounds which are having their origin from carbon. Okay. Carbon and the chemicals in your living organisms. अभी photosynthesis का एक example ले लो, ठीक है? So there is a change in the composition of these living plants. How is your hair conditioner made? What happens when you take medicine? When you take medicine and you are becoming fine, right? So why do you take this particular headache ka medicine when you have headache? Why doesn't your headache get cured when you take a stomach pain ka medicine? Why? Because there's a specific enzyme in your body which is going to act on the medicine which you take. So organic are the people who are finding out these cures, who are dealing with it, right? They are understanding they are analyzing these processes. So it has huge applications, and it's going to have a very bright future. Many disciplines are going to be the study of ketones, aldehydes, hydrocarbons, and alcohols. So that is your organic chemistry. Now, leaving anything, leaving your living organisms, leaving carbon and its compounds, carbon और compounds को छोड़ के and biomolecules को छोड़ के, anything which is not living, anything which is non-living will be included under inorganic chemistry. For example, how do we find out gold present in the Earth's crust? How do we extract other metals from the Earth's crust? What are their properties? How can we use them? How do they react with other compounds? It will cover all the materials except the living organisms. So we'll study about crystals, catalysts, minerals, and many other compounds. What is the crystal structure? How do minerals react? How are metals extracted? What is the role of catalyst? And most of your inorganic chemistry, you are going to study the entire periodic table, leaving apart carbon and hydrogen compounds. So your periodic table study is going to come under inorganic chemistry. Now let's talk about industrial chemistry, where people are going to go for jobs and all, right? Now there are huge machines. There is n number of raw material which is converted into fixed products or finished products. So how do you convert the raw plastic into a plastic bottle for the daily use? All those processes, what is their application is under industrial chemistry. Now nuclear chemistry, nuclear chemistry जितना interesting है उतना dangerous भी है. We all know that these radiations and the nuclear bombs and all, they are a great threat to the humanity. But many inventions are going to help also treating of many diseases and all. So nuclear chemistry is just not study of radioactivity. It is study of more than other phenomena also. Not only radioactive, but the derivatives also. It is the study of the atom, it is the study of the nucleus and what changes we can make to it. What will happen when changes are made to it? How will an atom react to a change made to it? And all these different things. How does the nucleus get affected? Then radiochemistry, now it's very interdisciplinary. Many of the fields are using radiochemistry or nuclear chemistry as a part of their studies. So we are ranging from the study of the formation of elements to making drugs and making bio weapons and other things. Okay. So I hope you got a higher idea about the different branches of chemistry. Guys, now let us have a look at, hold on, I'll just share the screen with you guys. Uh, it was not clear throughout the lecture, or it is just breaking right now? Okay, right now is okay. You heard what was talking in the entire lecture, right? Yeah, it is clear now. Is it okay now? Okay, cool. I guess you can see the screen now. Okay. No issues with the sound, right? Okay. So let us look at our journey, what we are going to go through in these 2 years. What is chemistry made up of, and what little and what big things we are going to study in this span of 2 years. We saw what is chemistry. We saw the different branches of chemistry. Now let us have a look at the 2 year portion. Now this will, in a very brief moment, this is going to include almost everything what we are going to go through, or what we are going to study in the next 2 years of our academic year. Okay, so when I talk about chemistry, it comes out, it just bottoms down to one thing, which is matter. 98% of the matter which is present is made up of hydrogen and helium. Now, why am I saying this? Where did this matter originate from? ये matter आया किधर से? So there was this huge structure in the space which was made up of hydrogen and helium. Over the years, over the years, this particular ball of hydrogen and helium, it exploded. It exploded, and that is how our universe came into existence. Not only universe, but many other elements and compounds were formed. In these compounds, they bonded with each other. Other elements and compounds were formed. Chemistry is this subject which we are going to study, which is going to show us the interaction between atoms, molecules, and different, from the simplest of atoms, from the simplest of structure of hydrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide. We will be studying to the most complex structures like proteins and DNA. So there are simple structures, there are complicated structures, there are big structures, there are small structures. We are going to go through all of them in these 2 years. So let us see what are we going to go through in these 2 years. Now, humans have been associated with chemistry since the very origin of Earth, like the invention of fire. So if we were not experimenting, if we are not learning, we'll never be able to grow, and we'll never be able to develop. Such an invention was fire. Fire को invent करके, then many processes of smelting and all. I guess you know what is the meaning of smelting. It's related to extraction of metals, right? Now, since then, there have been many advances in. Now we are making metal work, we are making glasses, making plastics, we are making clothes, we are making fertilizers, which are what do we say, used in many different fields. All this is having its origin in your chemistry, and the most important is your drugs. Now beta, when I say drugs, it means medicines. Okay, and we are going to study all this under this great big universe of chemistry. The first thing which we need to focus on is matter. First, we have to understand what is matter. Okay. we'll be starting from atoms, simple structure of atoms, and then we'll be moving on to the huge periodic table, where we'll be studying about different properties. Their message is working or is working. Am I? Is it okay now? I hope it's clear now, right? Okay, cool. So let us continue. So we are going to see about the properties of electrons, the properties of protons, nucleus, the trend of properties in the periodic table. How does it increase or decrease along across the period, down the group, and all these things. All of that is going to be included in chemistry. Not only this, we are going to study what happens when these atoms combine. When these atoms combine, I get chemical compounds. I get from the simplest atomic compounds like hydrogen, oxygen, to water, carbon dioxide, methane, and many other compounds. So we are going to study about different chemical compounds, how are they formed, what is the interaction between them. Then this very one thing, that hydrogen on its own, single hydrogen, is highly explosive in nature, whereas oxygen, it supports burning. Okay, it supports burning. Hydrogen is explosive and oxygen is supporting burning. Now, exploding and burning are not words; they are just used for you to, just for fun. So hydrogen is exploding and oxygen is burning. But when these two combines to give me water, when hydrogen and oxygen combine to give me water, H2O, this water, it neither explodes, neither does it support burning, but on the contrary, it puts off fire. So these original elements, they lose their properties when they are forming new compounds. And it's not burning or exploding. Simple as that. Now, there are different types of solids which we'll be learning, different types of crystals. What is a unit cell? How does this unit cell repeat itself to give me a big crystalline structure? Then we'll study about different mixtures like air and the cake. Also a mixture. We'll be studying about milk. Milk is also a what do we say, colloid, and we'll be studying about different types of solutions. Now, what is the basis of these formation of compounds? The basis of the formation of these compounds is the very bond which takes place in the atoms. So bonding is a very strong part which keeps the chemistry field going. Covalent bond we know about ionic bonding. So what happens in covalent bond? Sharing of electrons. And ionic bonding, transfer of electrons. Now, if you remember in the very first lecture, I did talk about something called as hydrogen bonding. So there are different types of bondings. Van der Waals weak forces of bonding. These bonding forces, these bonded bonds, they keep the atoms and the molecules together so that reactions can take place and the elements and the compounds can be stable. We are going to cover up this also. We are going to see the interaction of energy with the different compounds. How wood will not burn just in the presence of oxygen. जब मैंने wood को रखा है उसके आसपास oxygen डाल दिया तो wood अपने आप burn नहीं होने लगेगा because oxygen is not explosive. But if I provide energy, external energy to this wood, it will start burning and oxygen will now support this burning and keep the fire on. So this is the interaction between energy and other elements. Now, there's something called as a catalyst, a substance which speeds up a reaction, or rather, what will happen when two substances are mixed. So when I introduce a catalyst, the reaction will just speed up. Now, energy is also going to determine the different phases, solid, liquid, and gas. So what is going to happen if you take away energy from gas, it's going to convert to liquid. If you further take away energy, it's going to convert to solid. Now, if you provide energy, if you provide heat to solid, it will turn into liquid, and that liquid will further turn into gas. Okay, that depends on the temperature and pressure conditions. The substances will be solids at low temperature and high pressure, and will be gases at low pressure and high temperature. So we'll be studying about the phase changes, about the different phases and the properties of elements in these phases. Studying about different types of chemical reactions in 11th and 12th standard. Now, chemical reactions can be addition reaction, displacement reaction, Box reactions. So when we talk about synthesis, simply two atoms joining to give me a compound. Decomposition is a compound breaking into its constituent elements. There can be a single replacement reaction where B is a compound and C is an element. C is replacing B and the compound AC is being formed, and B now becomes single. Then you can have double displacement where AB is a compound, CD is a compound, B and C replacing each other. Is anybody talking? Okay. Now the best part, we are going to learn about many laws. But one of the important laws is going to be the law of conservation of mass and energy. So what is this law of conservation of mass and energy? Mass and energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. They can only be converted from one form to the other. So the total amount of mass before the reaction is equal to the total amount of mass after the reaction. The total energy content of a system is before and after the reaction are equal or same. No energy or mass is created or destroyed, just converted. ये सब हम लोग 11-12 में सीखने वाले हैं. Very important topics, kinetics, which we are going to study in 12th standard, related to the speed of the chemical reactions. How fast or how slow do the reactions occur? What can we do to speed up the reactions? Then there is something called as a redox reaction. What is redox reaction? Reaction in which both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously. So loss of electron is oxidation. Gain of electron is reduction. तो एक एटम ने इलेक्ट्रॉन दिया तो उसका ऑक्सीडेशन हुआ, दूसरे एटम ने इलेक्ट्रॉन लिया तो उसका रिडक्शन हो गया. अगर ये एक ही रिएक्शन में हो रहा है तो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज योर redox reaction. This we are going to study in 11th standard. Sodium chloride का formation is one of the very famous example. Now we need to understand one thing. जिसकी वजह से रिडक्शन हुआ, जिसकी वजह से ऑक्सीडेशन हुआ, the element which is helping the other element undergo oxidation is called as the oxidizing agent, and the element which is helping the other one go under reduction is called as reducing agent. Now, important property or the other important topic which we need to study is the acidity and basicity. Acids and bases on the pH scale. pH का full form is potential of hydrogen, and POH का full form is potential of hydroxyl ions. So if this potential is between 0 to 7, we consider the substance or the compound as acidic, and if it is between 7 to 14, we consider it as basic, and if it is 7.7, we consider it as neutral. So we'll be studying about various compounds and how does acids and bases, how can we increase, what are the different combinations, how do we form them, how do we form salts out of it, and so on. Then we are going to see about reversible reactions. Reversible reactions, compounds which are formed can be converted back to their constituent elements. Important concept which we are going to study in 11th standard is equilibrium. Equilibrium is that point in which the forward rate of the reaction and the backward rate of the reaction becomes constant, becomes same. So don't worry about all these things. I'm just giving you an overview. We are going to study each and everything in detail in all the chapters. This video is just showing you what we are going to study in 11th and 12th standard. So all this is interrelated. Okay. Now, this is what is one part of chemistry. This is one small part of chemistry which we will be going through while studying in 11th and 12th standard. Not only this, but we are also going to through different areas and fields of chemistry. So we are going to be studying the structures of atoms. How can we apply mathematics to these structures? What is theoretical and quantum chemistry? Theoretical physics, how is it related to chemistry? Computational chemistry, how can you simulate the reactions? With this, we are not going to learn in 11th and 12th, of course, but it definitely has a application, okay, in the higher classes. So how can we simulate chemical reactions on a computer and all? What are the structures? How do they affect the presence? What are the different diagrams? What are the what structural diagrams? There are many structural diagrams which we are going to go through. Then we are going to see physical chemistry. We are going to see the interaction of energy, force, time, motion, thermodynamics, kinetics. Take care. So the electronic properties of elements, which is going to be combined in electrochemistry. How does a battery function? What are the properties of materials? What is ductility, malleability? How can you use it? How do you extract elements? How do you extract metals from? What are the processes involved in the extraction of metals? Then in analytical chemistry, we are going to go through many formulae. We are going to solve many numericals. We are going to find out the percentages of those elements. We are going to find out the density. We are going to find out the mass. We are going to find out. We are going to study about something what is precipitation of compounds. We are going to do practicals in the laboratory in our colleges. Then we are going to study about chromatography, how we can find out the constituents by the use of a chromatography paper. Again, 11th mein aayega ye sab. Mass spectrography, where electrical and magnetic fields are used to separate out the constituents and study those constituents in depth. Then the biggest field is going to be inorganic, organic, and biochemistry. This we have already studied in the abhi jo humne previous video dekha tha. This is just a summary of that. So inorganic chemistry, we are going to study the compounds which are made by humans and which are non-living. As simple as that. Very few areas where humans have not introduced. Otherwise, everything now man can make as synthetic. So you can see this. The coatings, the paints, the fertilizers, the fuels, medicines, artificial sweetening agents. We'll be studying the effect of catalysts. We'll be learning that catalysts actually take part in chemical reactions, but they come out unaffected. जो हम लोग अभी तक नहीं सीखे थे 10th standard. Then material sciences, how to make new materials, what is going to be the use of those new materials, what is the durability, what is the strength of those materials. Then organometallic chemistry is going to include where we are going to introduce a metal in organic compounds to produce new compounds which are of higher strength. Now in organic chemistry, we are going to undergo structural behavior of organic compounds. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen के जितने भी derivatives हैं, we are going to be studying them in detail. Their properties, how are they made, their exceptions, and in सब के अंदर the most common structure is going to be a carbon-hydrogen bond. Different examples: plastics, fertilizers, pesticides, then fragrances, flavoring substances, the food you eat, the drugs which we are going to use, many things. Then in biochemistry, we are going to study about the structure of carbohydrates, the structure of proteins, lipids, DNA, RNA. We are going to study about the essential elements which are essential for life compounds like water, vitamins. So it covers up mostly. So if we talk about chemistry, everything is going to be covered, be it bio, be it inorganic, be it organic. So how is carbohydrates storing energy? How are lipids used to make fats? What are proteins made up of? Why are proteins essential? Why are they called as the building blocks of the human body? Then what are the nucleic acids? What are their structures? Their impact on the medicine? How can they help science understand the origin of different diseases and the different cures, which is right now going around the world, right? What nutrition is good for the health? What what do we say? A vegetable gives us what kind of nutrition? Then the applications in the field of agriculture. So when you look at this summary in a very short span of time, you see in front of you, this is what is your 11th and 12th standard made up of. Your 11th and 12th is going to comprise of all the simplest stuff point which you can see in front of you on the screen right now. Okay, so on this screen you see the various studies, the various types of examples which we are going to go through in these 2 years. I don't know whether you find this exciting or you find this boring or you find this as a burden, but trust me, when you study it in this way, you're actually going to study the application of chemistry in the real life. So when you see all these things and now you understand that why do we study chemistry? We are studying chemistry because we are surrounded by it. We are living because of it. So we are going to study about both living, non-living essentials in the human life because of which we are existing. So this entire screen, it gives you a snapshot of your 2 years, the basics of what you'll be going through in 11th and 12th chemistry. So I hope this was informative and you take away some good points. You guys sleeping or something? Did you go to sleep or you are attentive and paying attention? Pratik is saying no, sir. No means you are not sleeping, right, Guru? Good. So good. So this was a glance of what we are going through in chemistry, and that is why I had started a very basic thing about the atoms, about the matter, because matter is what will be with what we'll be studying and what will take us through in all these different fields and all the topics of chemistry. So that is why we had started with matter and the different types of bonds, and we will go ahead with other different topics in chemistry. It's going to be an interesting ride. So I don't think so it's going to be boring for you. Now, any one of you, if you have any questions related to this small introductory session which we had, you can unmute yourself and you can talk. It can be the simplest of the question. It can be any question which you want to ask. Let us have the session as a bit interactive. So I guess you have got the idea of what you are going to face in these 2 years. Trust me, chemistry is one of the easiest subjects in 11th and 12th and the most scoring one. This is the easiest subject. All subjects are easy, subject to your interest, as simple as that. So if you have interest, if you have the determination to study concepts, then nothing is going to be difficult. But if you're here to buy hard things, if you're here to just memorize things, then it won't be a very good start for science. So understand concepts, why things are happening, visualize it, and things are going to be easy in your life. as simple as that. Okay, so I think it was a very informative session for today, and we can wind up for today. Are we good to close today, sir? For listening, sir, we are also going to study about this.
Sir.
Light ka beta, Yogesh, very small part is going to come into existence, wherein which we are going to study about the different wavelengths and the colors because of which it's happening. The absorption light as a source of energy. Light in depth we are going to study in physics. Okay, beta. Light in depth we are going to study in physics. Okay. Any other questions, guys? So your questions are always welcome. In the future classes, we are going to interact with the actual chemistry topics we'll be going through, and I hope we're going to have a more interactive session where you guys will be asking questions and answering to my questions. So guys, stay safe and take care. Keep studying. Bye bye. Take care.
Okay, students. Hello. हाँ. Tomorrow is Monday. Monday it means physics का day रहेगा आपका कल का. हेलो, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
यस सर.
हाँ, तो कल फिजिक्स का लेक्चर है, सेम टाइम 5:30 to 6:30, स्केलर्स एंड वेक्टर्स. जो लोग न्यू लोग हैं उनको थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम होगी, तो उनके लिए ये वीक के एंड में हम लोग जितने भी नए लोग हैं सबको एक साथ लेके अलग से लेक्चर्स रखते हैं हम लोग सारे सब्जेक्ट्स के. और जो लोग पुराने लोग हैं प्लीज टॉपिक रिवाइज करके अटेंड करो तो समझने में थोड़ा और ज्यादा इजी होगा. ठीक है, थैंक यू वेरी मच. टुमारो 5:30 to 6:30 फिजिक्स. कमलेश सर.